Hello and welcome to HRL Silverstone. I ended up missing out a race on Austria because I just wasn't feeling well. I ended up falling asleep for it. So yeah, that was kind of annoying. But that, however, means that Jacko takes, I believe, at the very least, takes over the championship lead. So we're basically doing a repeat of TNR. And hopefully I can do what I did in the pre-season for TNR, which was winning after me and Jacko pulled away from the rest of the grid. But anyway, we're away. And Harry apparently had a loss of force feedback on his wheel, so he wasn't able to correctly race, and he ends up losing it early on in lap 1. But at the very least it looks good for Ferrari currently, until that incident arises, which is a 1-2. The qualifying was basically, it was a dry wet one, but annoyingly enough for it and for everyone, it was still raining, but for some other reason the track got faster at the end of the session, but it was a lot more, it was slippier, so a lot of people did not end up getting a lap out. I believe Jacko ended up screwing up on his lap, so he had a chance. So did Pure and Rain. I don't know about Harry, but if he lost his force feedback, that could have very well been pole for him as well. Basically, near half the grid could have taken pole from me, but I got lucky. But anyway, through Max Beckett's, and you'll see Harry's name change with Jacko. Loss of force feedback happens there, and then Jacko ends up sneaking through there. And then, shortly afterwards, Nemo, which is the other McLaren, ends up sneaking up as well, and Nemo did really well this race, actually. He held on to third for the longest period until a charging V-Fingers ended up getting him. V-Fingers did fucking brilliant this race as well. Like, he played his strategy to perfection. He did the inverse of what I did, which was he started on medium. He started on softs, actually. He did the inverse of Jacko, which was he started on the softs and then went to supers. He did excellent conserving the tyres. Same with Jacko. Cutting on to lap 9 because nothing happened except for Jacko managing the gap to me. And I decided to stay out because my tyre wear was actually reasonably good. And then Jacko pulls in, and then that's when I realised I had to put the hammer down. And then basically, as you can see, put it up into Rich. V-Fingers and Rain as well were both catching, so I decided to pull in. Could have come in for softs, but I decided to play it safe and go for mediums, even though I think I had better tyre wear than Jacko at that point, which is a rare occurrence. But I could have gone on for softs, but then that meant I had to tyre save at the end, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to be pushing the entire time, so I decided to go for the mediums. Obviously at the start lose a bit of time because Jacko on the faster tyres and all around us faster would catch up. But I thought I'd lose more time under the undercut, but he only gained, I think, 7 tenths. If Jacko can comment and say if that was correct, I think I only lost 7 tenths because the gap went to a 2.6 to a 1.9. So it was still relatively close. And cutting on to the lap I've just come out, and as you can see, Jacko's pushing off. So it's a 31.2. So he's definitely pushing, but then the next lap I end up pushing even faster and get a 30.8, and that ends up getting smashed by V-Fingers later on in the race because he was just flying, and he was actually worrying me, and with like 6 laps to go he was 12 seconds behind and he was just catching it. Speaking of V-Fingers, he's in there for the supers, and he caught a lot of people off guard actually and just flew through the field, so well done to him. But anyway, cutting on to lap 24, because like I said, nothing really did happen. And there's Rain now, and Pure, who I was in a party with, made a fucking brilliant call saying with 2 laps to go, that's when it would really come down. And of course, he was correct, because Pure just has the fucking psychic mind. But as you can see, lap 26, no one ended up pitting for Inters, because it didn't get that bad. But tyre wear's alright, so I was glad I made the call for the mediums. Jacko ended up losing a bit of time the last 2 laps. Might have been because of the rain and his tyre wear, or it might just have been tyre wear or the weather. But do a repeat of the pre-season and take the win. Obviously not under these conditions, but yeah, it's a win either way. And here we go for the podium ceremony. Ferrari on top, then a McLaren, and then a Mercedes. I can guarantee there's almost every single F1 fan that wants it like that. Well, maybe McLaren and Ferrari switched. Get McLaren back up there. But as the champagne bottles get sprayed, it was quite, I would say, quite a dramatic race, because I was listening to Pure and Rain, and there was a lot of battling going on in the midfield that obviously I didn't catch because I was out ahead with Jacko. But yeah, no, it was an interesting race, and weirdly enough, me and Jacko were the only people with penalties. I was expecting Jacko to not have a penalty, but for me to not have one is quite rare, especially around this track. But that's all I really can say about this race. It was basically just a sweep. Anyway, hopefully see you next time for HRL. Peace.